It feels like a lot of people in comics, and I'm including the fans in this, but certainly the creators, people in the industry, there's a lack of being able to take a joke. And why is that? I mean, there's a lot of I could speculate on a lot of reasons, but like comics are meant to be fun, and if something is fun and it's entertainment, generally people like to make jokes, do parodies, all that kind of stuff. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, then it feels like we're giving up a huge part of what comics is. So what's going on here? Hey everybody, this is Perch. It is fall. Like leaves are falling everywhere. It's time to start to rake stuff, and it's like I, it's hard to believe this year has been the blur year. Like I people are gonna look back on their photos of this year and like see all these sad photos of them sitting on the couch. It's like what a weird year this has been. Anyway, um, making fun of yourself or at least being able to take a joke, it's a lost art, and I think it's true not just in comics. I think it's everywhere. People are so hyped up with kind of they're on the brink. I did that video about fear a while back, and it's like when you've got somebody yelling at you all the time that you should be afraid. It's I'm afraid. Are you not afraid? You're not afraid enough. My God, you asshole! Why aren't you more afraid? When you're hearing that kind of stuff all the time, it's like whatever hope you have for a sense of humor goes away, and you can't be lighthearted because if you're lighthearted, then you're not scared enough, and if you're not scared enough, you've got to be one of the bad guys. I think that's it's a dangerous place that we're in. But I mean, I don't know, and I wonder because for me personally, I can take a joke pretty well. I guess I don't get wrapped up in it. Sometimes people come to me like, hey, did you hear what did you hear what this person said about you? Or and that's like, I mean, cool. I don't like I don't have that rush of like, oh my god, somebody's saying something. My all time favorite review and the mistake I have made is that I have not gone to these videos and recorded the little clips because I do not remember. It's one of the big YouTubers. It was not like not the top echelon, but like that the the next whatever. Anyway, not it wasn't Ethan Van Sciver. I'll put it that way. It was somebody else, and I cannot remember who. And they go, Perch, he's all right. He's very fair, but his voice is faggy. And I love that clip. I would run that clip at like the start of every video. It's just, I mean, it's so funny. That's what it is. I don't know. Um, I, it's weird. Like people dance around on tiptoes half the time. They go into the videos and they want to really disagree. They really hated my take on something, and either they're apologetic about it, like I'm sorry to have to say this, but you're a dumb asshole, or they get like really like they get like pre angry, pre defensive, like you're probably a big idiot for thinking this way, and it's not that. It's like you don't have to apologize or like get your dukes up. You could pretty much just say whatever you want. It's not going to bother me. I mean, good lord, if YouTube comments were bothering me, I'd lose my mind. I find the guy who subscribes to Downvote hilarious. I do. I mention it too much because it's funny. It's really, really funny. But with comics in particular, we've got to lighten up because it's funny to take captions out of context. So there's a Twitter account called like Comics Out of Context. And I don't think the guy ever posts or woman. I'm not assuming any gender. I don't know what's going on with that person, but the person um, posts just panels and nothing. I don't think they ever post words. It's just panels, and the panels, of course, are taken out of context because it's one single panel, and the person saying it is somewhat awkward in what's being said, and it's funny. It's just I like it. It shows up in my tweet, or in my tweet. It shows up in my on my thread, on my wall, whatever you want to call it. It shows up in my list. God, why am I spacing on the term here? I'm driving and there's somebody next to me who's being kind of a maniac, but it shows up in my feed. We'll go with that. And I love to see it there. It's funny. I usually get a laugh. It's sometimes I remember the comic it came from and all the rest. But lately, people have started taking like this guy who posts panels, and going completely off on, like, this is completely unfair to just look at this one panel in isolation for a cheap laugh. And it's like, no, it's not unfair. We need cheap laughs. We need it as a society. You people are nuts. I think that so much would be diffused if we could just be able to laugh about things. It's why, and I know I'm now going to hit all the like the chimes of getting people triggered, but it's one reason I liked when Nurkish would do his reviews. If you're familiar with that guy, he would do, pretty much over the top roasts, and they were definitely over the top. And because they were so over the top, and the stuff was so ridiculous, they were funny. And I'm sure that the creators who are getting roasted didn't appreciate it. But to me, I would laugh if that stuff happened to me. I would have a good time because, good God, why how can you not? I think that comics are meant to be enjoyed. They're meant to be thoughtful. They're meant to be things we remember. And yes, they're meant to be laughed at times. And things age weird, and it's funny. If we lose that ability, to me, I think we're losing one of the very core parts of comics. I'm a sarcastic guy. Most of the stuff that goes through my head does not make it onto videos or tweets. And I hate that a little bit because I am self censoring a ton of stuff. I believe, I don't know if they'd be funny, but I could do roasts that people would find, I'm sure, really, really cruel. Like super, super cruel. But I don't do it because like I feel like our culture is no longer equipped to be able to deal with it. Like the people can't. And I think that as a result, there's less engagement in comics. I think we had more engagement. I think we had more readership. I think we had more attachment to books when we were allowed to, make fun of them, call out things that are stupid, and joke about it. It's my observation, and again, I may be wrong about this. For all the years that I ran a shop, there were very few times when people came in and complained about something that they legitimately wanted, the creator to be like catapulted into the sun. Very, very rare. Yeah, there was a guy who hated Neil Adams, like hated him, and he would come in and he would, well, so I'm telling the story wrong already. I don't think he hated him, but he would complain about him constantly, like every single time an issue would float through the door, up on the shelf, whatever it happens to be, there'd be something to complain about. He draws noses too big. The characters always look like they've got some kind of disease. Why are all his heroes look like mongoloid people? Like, he would always just insult the stuff. It became performance art. But despite all that, I got to like, man, you really hate this guy. He's like, no, I don't hate him. What are you talking about? It's like, well, you've been insulting him for like 3 years in a row. It's like, it's fun to make fun of Neil Adams. It was fun for him. Good. Like, the only thing that could make that go weird and wrong is if every time he rolled out an insult that he was having fun with, if like the other people in the shop or the store owner or anybody just started like getting into World War III over it, like that would deflate all the fun for sure. So I think we got to have fun. I think that it's people are it's way too sensitive. And yes, mostly, I mean, well, for everybody, it really comes across on the creator side because it feels like sour grapes. It comes across on the fan side where it's like people are triggered, like with nothing, like nothing. I'll just roll it out here. I did the hot dog vendor video, and man, there are some people in the comments who were triggered as fuck in that video. Sorry, I should use those words. Demonetized. I don't know why. Like, you could just go, I think you're stupid. The end, or disagree or whatever. But like, you know, laugh. And then if you're gonna come at me, like, you gotta know I'm laughing you off. I don't care. I it's just funny. We gotta be able to relax. I think it's unhealthy. And I again, for the fans, it's a suggestion. I just think you'd have a better life if you did, but it's up to you. For the creators, absolutely, you got to lighten up because you are actively driving away your audience. I think I doubt. I don't know who would agree with this, but I would be willing to wager that more fans are driven off of a creator because they feel that creator has like super thin skin, can't take a joke, like is seething in rage every time they hear something. Like, I think that that drives people off much faster than if the creator is like really bashing Trump. And I'll give you an example of that. Nick Spencer went all in on Trump is terrible, like hardcore, and people were mad, and there were angry comments, and and everything else. And then he did Secret Empire, and everybody hated that pile of crap. And now he's doing Spider Man, and people are pretty much they're cool with it. Many people like that comic. Not everybody, but it's fine. But the one thing Nick Spencer didn't do, or at least stopped doing, I think he may have done some of this a while back, but he doesn't do it anymore, is he doesn't go on Twitter and like go on little rage tantrums when somebody dislikes his stuff. He just ignores it or lets it go. Look at the like the cycle of Donny Cates. Every now and then he's gotten super jack pissed when somebody has a go at him, and it always creates weeks of negative backlash. And then he chills out, he doesn't make a comment, and people typically go back to saying Thor is pretty awesome and life's okay. I think most fans, even if you're pissing them off with political ideology or whatever, a lot of people complain about that, and it's their right to complain about it. But I think the number one thing that gets fans really pissed off is when you're basically showing yourself to be a coward, to have no ability to take criticism whatsoever. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Curious what you think. That's my observation. Is that most people don't care. But hey, tell me where I'm wrong. I I don't know. It's hard to do this when you're listening to a video from a distance. But I can promise you, you could pretty much throw anything you want at me. I'm good with it. I'm okay. In fact, 9 times out of 10, you're giving me good feedback. And then there's the 10th time where like, you're not. Whatever. It is what it is. There's a lot of things to be worried about in the world. Um, what people are saying about you on social media or YouTube is seriously not one of them. For me, your mileage may vary, as they say. Anyway, let me know what you think, and if my theory is correct. I think the biggest thing that turns people off is that behavior, far more than anything else. But I may be wrong. Let me know in the comments below. Curious what you think. Otherwise, hey, like, subscribe, bell for notifications, dislike, like, all those whatever little icon you want to use, man. It's your party. Thanks for listening.